We've also started a petition, which I'll tell you about. And the petition is not to support either person. I mean, this man's your teacher. You're not being forced to support him. There's no grade. Nobody knows if you support him or not. But I just want to say that up front.
And you'll get no cash.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But a chicken in every month. It doesn't matter who you support. What we've all agreed on, all the candidates who have presently announced, is the platform. We all agree what must be done to fix this place and make it better for you. We don't care which of these people and the others get the job. The decision that needs to be made by you, by the faculty, by the committees, by everyone else, by public opinion, is who's the best person to actually have the, forgive me, balls to make it happen. Because we're actually asking in our platform that big change occur. The list of the big changes we want, you will like. 2/3 tuition reduction. How's that accomplished? These guys are gonna tell you more details, but let me tell you the simple, easy way. We cut administration by 2/3, dollar for dollar. Why do we think this is possible? I'll tell you, because I came 12 years ago. Administration has gone up 2/3. It's tripled. It went from 22%, it's now 62%. Since I've been here, guess what else went up in that same period of time? Anybody? Smart kids? Tuition! Went up the same amount. Where do you think the money went? Didn't go to us. We didn't get raises. Where do you think the money went? Went to these guys. When I came here, there was one person called a provost. How many provosts are there now? We're looking at triples here. How many provosts? There are 3 now. What do? The same thing the one guy used to do. Okay? That's where Don Parr came from. What does the provost do in general? These are things you need to know. This is a quick civics lesson in how a university operates. By the way, I didn't know. I came from the outside. I didn't know what a dean was. I didn't know what a dean was when I went to college. You know, I mean, honestly, I remember Dean Speroni at UCLA. And what was he? I mean, I didn't know the difference between him and a department chair. I knew the professors I knew. That was all I knew. What was the difference? People signed, I was on the dean's list. Great. What does that mean? I did it automatically. Okay. The university has a president. Anybody know his job, other than what I just told you? His job should be to make all the big decisions and take the heat. His job should be sign all the contracts, be legally responsible for everything that happens here. Again, take the heat. What his job turns out to be is figurehead fundraiser, who nonetheless gets to make a lot of decisions, but not take the heat. How does he not take the heat? One of the ways is he delegates to a person called the provost the legal power to sign contracts and operate the day-to-day business of the university. If you work at this university, the only signature you will ever see on your contract is the provost, not the president. What does this guy do all day? The last guy, Alexander, ran around giving speeches so he could become, he hoped, the chancellor. When he got turned down as the chancellor, then he went off to LSU. What does a president do all day? How many meetings can you go to asking for fundraising? And by the way, the president, particularly Alexander, set up, what do we call it? Development office, right? What does the development office do? Which has innumerable people. It fundraises. And what does the development office do at Brotman Hall for the administration compared to the development office in the College of the Arts, the development office in the College of Liberal Arts, the development office of the College of Business Administration? Why is it there are development offices at every place on campus? Are you beginning to see how we've tripled the size of the administration? There should be one fundraising office.
There are 9.
There are 9. Okay? The president doesn't need a provost. He can sit his fat ass down and stay at Brotman Hall and sign the friggin' contracts that need to be signed. This is our position. Okay? We don't need 3 provosts. We don't need the one provost. This guy can do the job. The last president beefed up the size of stuff. Pounds and I in 2009, as they were jacking up tuition, cutting salaries by 10%, cutting classes in this department by what? huge percent, 25%.
I was there for that, I remember.
Yeah, when they were doing all that, and we were struggling with how we're gonna do this, and we were very much in charge of, oh my God, what are we gonna cut? How are we gonna combine it? How's this gonna work? We had a zillion students. At that, we went and looked at the budgets and found a lot of hidden money that the administration had socked away. And we found lies in the budget, and we reported on it in the 49er. And the administration came back at us and said, "You're idiots, you don't know what you're talking about." And I said, "Let's have a press conference and talk about it in public." And he said, "Okay." And so we had a press conference, and we had various press, not just 49er, and all press television and others there. And at that famous press conference, Mary Stevens, who's still the head of finance here, when we said to her, how can this be justified? How can you acknowledge the size? How can you agree that the size of the administration is okay and that it should get bigger in this year of recession? When you're asking the faculty to vote, to give themselves a 10% pay cut. It's a lot like the Nazis asking you to dig your own grave before they shoot you and drop you into it, right? She said, fairly famously, and I paraphrase because I have the quote accurately down in something I published, but it sometimes escapes me. But the essence of the quote was, in times of recession, administrators need more administrators to figure out how to do more with less. And we sat there going, did we just, I remember when Pound Town we looked at our tape recorders and we looked at each other and we said, did we just hear that? Did the reporter get that down? And that was her justification. When we have less money, we have to have more meetings, we have to strategize, we have to be smarter about how to spend it. It was insane. That's the logic that goes through. The other part of the logic was, and this is something you guys need to hear about, this is a public school. This is not USC, a private school. I'm not comparing quality, I'm just saying USC is a private school, privately funded. In a private school, the market rate determines what salaries are paid to any individual, right? President comes in, says, I want $1 million. School says, too much money. Well, I can get the guy from Harvard to come over here for less than that. So you don't get the $1 million. These guys argued to us that the administrators of this school needed to be paid market rate for CEOs in private industry, not even in private education. They basically said that the woman that runs Yahoo, the guys at Google, you name a company that whatever any CEO you can name that has a business of a certain size gets paid a certain amount of money. They should get that same amount of money and perks and whatnot, as if this is a for-profit institution. Legally, this is not. Every dollar that comes into this institution is legally required to be spent. You're not supposed to have a surplus because that means the taxpayers got ripped off, right? Because the legislature gives you just what you need. You pay just enough tuition. You don't want to know that you paid money so they could be put in a bank, and in your tuition, they could be put in a bank and spent 2 years from now on another student. Like, what is that? That's not legally what this is about. And their position is, to get good people, we need to pay more. The great thing about the candidacies you're going to hear from us is that every one of the people who is announcing that they want to be a candidate wants to take less than has currently been paid to Alexander and his people. You notice that when presidents get hired at other CSU campuses, there are always student protests at the Board of Trustees. How can you pay this guy $600,000 when I'm broke, when the school's broke, when tuition's been raised? What does this person contribute that's worth that kind of money, and why is it coming out of my eye, the taxpayer and the student? If that person's getting $600,000, let it be a bonus for fundraising. If I go raise $60 million, pay me a little more money. Why doesn't he have a deal like that? Why is he being guaranteed $600,000? King Alexander's deal at LSU is more than $600,000 a year guaranteed for 4 years. Plus a car, plus a house, plus other perks, plus bonuses, plus increases. It's a close to $3 million guarantee.